White-blue Monument and black-red aggro. White-blue Monument really mentioned what the two decks at the top of the field right now are variations of Teamer and white-blue.
Yep.
Both performing well. We'd expect that they're some of the best decks coming out of the Invitational.
Spell Queller is still one of the best cards in Standard. Really easy to press advantages with that one.
All right, Joslyn starts out on a Port Town. Jackson will, on the draw, will play Dread Wanderer. On the surface, you'd think it was a Zombies deck, though we know on this side a lot more going on. We see Thraben Inspector. I'd want to be on a lookout of what Jocelyn's lands look like. If her turn 1 was a tapped Port Town, and her turn 2 was a Westvale Abbey, I'd be interested to see if she can keep making land drops. Jackson will trade Dread Wanderer with the Inspector, and Jocelyn makes Oketra's Monument. How will the Black-Red deck fare in the face of a stream of 1/1s? We will see. Here is Pia Nalar from Hicks.
Pia Nalar has considerably less punch than an Amit Eternal on this turn.
Yeah, I was looking for one of those, an Amit that turn. See Bygone Bishop from Joslyn, gets a 1/1, another mana for Selfless Spirit, gets another 1/1 and a clue token. This deck firing off in all sorts of ways.
And while she's missing her 4th land drop, she's gaining mana off of that monument. Being able to 2-spell there is so powerful.
Yeah, it's like she had spent 5 mana worth of spells that turn. Jackson will swing the Thopter. With 4 mana, Jocelyn can't block with Bygone Bishop. It would be a trade, so she'll just take 1 and go to 19.
Yeah, Bishop worth more than a Thopter token. Selfless Spirit also not a great trade
So
there.
now we're going to look at the burn element of Jackson's deck. Cards like Cut to Ribbons, Unlicensed Disintegration, and I guess Earthshaker Kenra. It's a lot to ask of that side of the deck to do the full 20 points of damage. So Jackson looks like he pumped the Thopter once, then cast Fatal Push and Dread Wanderer.
Yep, Selfless Spirit now out of the picture. So it looks like Jocelyn does have a backup in her hand.
Yeah, along with a Cloud Blazer. Cannot cast that just yet. She has Spell Queller, Cloud Blazer, Hanvir, Militia Captain, and Selfless Spirit. So she'll start by cracking a clue. That finds Thraben Inspector. So she'll go for, it looks like, Militia Captain. That'll bring a 1/1 with him, threaten to flip next turn. Also makes another clue token.
Yeah, finding a land there would have been really nice, which is why she cracked the clue main phase. There's no real pressing need to commit Selfless Spirit against a deck that's playing all these low-to-the-ground creatures as well. No concern about getting swept there. And if she were to hit the land, be able to cast Militia Captain and Selfless Spirit on that turn, it would have been huge.
Yeah, well, that Militia Captain's going to flip unless Jackson can kill it. Yeah, it looks like he's thinking about swinging the team here.
These mopey ground creatures don't get better as the game progresses.
Yeah, might as well swing them, and that'll be Pia Nalar, Thopter token, and Dread Wanderer. Jocelyn's at a healthy 18. We'll see how much of this she actually wants to take as damage. Looks like trade with Dread Wanderer. If she blocks another thing, her Militia Captain won't flip.
This exchange is just fine for her, and she'll still be able to maintain the flip as well. She doesn't want to get the Militia Captain involved in combat, and she would like to flip it. The Pia is really not worth too much for Hicks.
Yeah, its ability means if he assembles some flyers, you see 2 Glory Bringers in his list. He may, like, we're on this burnout plan where we're looking at Cut to Ribbons and Unlicensed Disintegration. You know, he's trying to chip shot his way in from 18, which is a really big thing to ask of his deck.
Right.
Looks like he'll just let the trade happen. No pumps. Joslyn takes 3. She goes to 15. Jackson's follow-up is Chandra, Torch of Defiance. It can shoot down any creature to deny the Militia Captain. We'll see what he wants to get rid of, and it will be the Bishop. That makes sense.
Yep. Yeah, the Bishop is able to generate some card draw as the game progresses.
And Joslyn hits the land drop. A lot to like in her hand now.
Yeah, even just Cloud Blazer Go is a really powerful play.
Yeah, that's really good.
But Thraben Inspector leaving up Spell Queller is going to make it really difficult for Jackson to claw into this game.
Some easy attacks. 3 damage at Jackson, 1 at Chandra. Actually, she'll go 2 at Chandra. Wants to make sure the Planeswalker dies even in case of a removal spell.
I guess Selfless Spirit Spell Queller is the other option. That one's really good.
But and here's Cloudblazer plus 1/1. 2 life, 2 cards.
Yeah, and with Jackson only really drawing to ways to burn Joslyn out of the game, her life total is so high, and gaining 2 life just makes it even harder.
And multiple Spell Quellers. There's a ton to like here.
Yeah, and with Jackson presenting 5 mana there, you're more concerned about the higher impact cards like Glorybringer than the stuff that you can actually tag with Spell Queller.
Yeah, that makes sense. Glorybringer would be very nice for Jackson. Cloudblazer will go in front of Thopter token, and Pia Nalar will pump the robot that will trade with the 2/2 flyer.
Yeah, that trade's just fine.
Yeah, takes his mana as well to do it. Joslyn takes 2 back down to 15. Still has 4 creatures to flip the Militia Captain.
Yeah. 6th land for Jackson, certainly not what he was in the market for.
And he will bring back Dreadwander and pass. So Joslyn will flip Militia Captain. Westvale Cult Leader. Power bonus equals the number of creatures she controls. At the beginning of her end step, she gets a 1/1.
So it's already giant, and it just gets bigger, makes the army larger every turn.
Yeah, this white-blue deck, very tough for Jackson to attack through, and it does not look like he's going to be able to do it this game. Another Selfless Spirit, another Militia Captain.
Yikes.
Jackson's just going to pick up the cards.
And with these extra creatures, with the extra monument triggers, that Militia Captain was attacking for a very large portion of Hicks's life total on that turn.
So Joslyn Lambaria takes game 1 with white-blue monument. No problem there, never drops below 15.
Yeah, really a runaway.
So looking at the sideboard, starting on Joslyn's side, she's got 3 Negate, 3 Gideon, 2 Stasis Stairs, 2 Fragmentize, 2 Fumigate, 2 Angel of Sanctions, and 1 of the Draw 2 spell, Hieroglyphic Illumination. You know, after that game, looking at her side, I'm not sure she's going to change anything.
No, she didn't see a ton of Jackson's deck. She just saw creatures. A couple of them were sticky creatures. There was the Dread Wanderers. You can make some assumptions about what else is hanging out there. Stasis Snare looks to be the most obvious upgrade. There's not a huge reason to go for the other stuff. You don't need to fumigate when you just have better creatures coming up to play. Angel of Sanctions is pretty good because it can exile those sticky creatures. That's kind of mostly what I'd be looking at here.
Yeah, on Jackson's side, his sideboard has basically a lot of ways to go bigger. 2 Obnixilis, 2 Magma Spray, 2 Kalitas, 2 Transgress the Mind, 2 Gonti, a Glorybringer, another Chandra, a Sweltering Suns, the 4th Fatal Push, and a copy of Liliana the Last Hope.
That Liliana is really the most significant thing here. When you're playing against a Selfless Spirit deck, a deck that's trying to cheese you with Oketra's Monument, Liliana can make up a lot of that value really quickly. So that one's really nice. Kalitas has a really reasonable size. That one can play really well here.
Yeah, talking to Jackson, I believe he said Kalitas was going to come in this matchup.
There's a good argument for Transgress the Mind. There's a lot of really powerful 3 mana cards in Joslyn's deck. It's a little awkward. He only has 2 copies. Not necessarily in love with it.
Now we'll see if he goes to... over on StarCityGames.com, we have our weekly sale. That's everything over at our store. We have a different thing on sale every week. For this last week, it's been 15% off top vintage and legacy cards. So you see these, we have different singles on sale over at the store. So that'll be on sale all weekend. Head on over to StarCityGames.com to check that out. And be sure to stop by on Monday morning at 11 a.m. when we start next week's weekly sale.
Vintage and legacy cards. So as long as it's not silver bordered. I suppose we're talking about cards that aren't modern legal.
Yeah, I guess that could be anything. Could just say cards.
Right.
No, it's specific unplayables in vintage and legacy.
That Japanese Tolarian Academy is nice. I guess the Black Lotus, the 9-graded Black Lotus, that might be a little bit nicer than the Academy.
So I want to talk a bit about Jackson's black-red deck. In a lot of ways in that game, it feels like he's doing the same thing that Zombies is doing by being a black aggro deck. He's losing some of those really high-power plays by playing this deck. By not playing Liliana's Mastery, by not playing Lord of the Accursed. What does he gain, though, from the red cards, then?
He gets access to unlicensed integration and cut to ribbons. He actually has a lot to say about cut to ribbons and what it does for this deck. Just the amount of reach that he has access to, and unlicensed integration, or murder bolt, as a lot of these players call it. That's a really nice way to both play a little bit to the board and have a lot of reach in your deck.
Yeah, I would think against a creature deck, that'd be an advantage.
Mm-hmm. And the format is largely just creature decks.
Yeah, White Blue Monument's an interesting creature deck in that it plays a lot of creatures, but it's a different kind of thing.
3-mana removal spell is a little slow against this deck. Jackson would love to have access to some Abrades here, but that's one that he did not show up to play with.
Both players keeping on 7. We start again. Game number 2. Swamp from Hicks. Looks like Lambaria, one of her sideboard fumigates in the opener. Makes sense.
Yeah, if your opponent's black-red, dealing a lot of damage to you, gaining life and killing creatures.
Earthshaker Kenra, the play from Hicks, the 2/1 haste. Eternalizes later on in the game, but it'll get in for 2. And Selfless Spirit from Joslyn.
Ooh.
This is a big one. Liliana, the last hope from Hicks, takes care of the Selfless Spirit. That interaction between those 2 cards, that's like the worst situation for Selfless Spirit as a Magic card in the format.
Yes. And among the best situations for Liliana, the last hope.
Yeah. Bygone Bishop for Lambaria.
It is nice that she had Bygone Bishop and not Oketra's Monument on this turn.
Yeah, I mean, even so, she won't be able to block.
Mm-hmm.
Cut from the card Cut to Ribbons, cast by Jackson. He'll play Dread Wanderer plus the Liliana and hit with the Kenra. This game going a lot better for him.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that I feel watching these White Blue Monuments, the games where they have Oketra's Monument and don't seem really night and day for this deck.
Yes.
Gideon ally of Zendikar to play for her. Looks like it'll make a Night ally. And Jackson saves the time, says I'm going to Fatal Push it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's going to allow him to attack down Gideon on this turn as well.
And that's what he'll do. Gideon down, Chandra goes up to 6, Jackson passes. So land 5 means Fumigate now online for Joslyn, though at the moment it's not a great board to Fumigate.
Jackson just ticks up Liliana. Joslyn can't beat Liliana Ultimate. Nobody can. I just don't think that happens. You have to be way ahead on board.
Yeah, and on top of this, look at how Jackson's creatures are all sticky here. You know, if you do cast Fumigate, well, Dread Wanderer's going to come back. Kenra's going to come back. Mm-hmm. Kenra might even get better.
Right.
So Jocelyn's going to cycle a land, cast Hanvir Militia Captain, and pass the turn. Well, if Liliana just pluses on the Militia Captain, I was going to say that would be good enough to get it to flip. Here's Glorybringer. It'll exert, kill the 2/2. A swing for H. Jocelyn's at 6. Jackson has a Liliana about to make an emblem. And game 1 we said was a runaway. Game 2 looks like it's running the other direction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Fumigate's there. It'll buy Joslyn some time.
That's likely one that she'll be looking at with regard to sideboarding for game 3.
Yeah, maybe to just not have it in the deck anymore.
Yeah, again, Stasis Snare looked really good out of the sideboard, and you see these sticky creatures. Glorybringer's another nice one to tag with that.
Yeah.
The Fumigate's not lining up great.
Well, and look
here.
at the life gain. Look how hard it is to stabilize against Jackson's deck. So he's got Dread Wanderer to come back. Kenra can eternalize. Cut to Ribbons can deal burn. I mean, I don't know that you can life gain out of this.
Mm-hmm. Joslyn did pick up Stasis Snare there, though that's way late to the party at this point.
A swing for 4. Joslyn has to block, and as she takes the damage, well, Jackson's just going to use Ribbons. Points to it, says, yeah, that's the last 4. We're going to game 3.
Yeah, Liliana Ultimate Kicker as well. Yeah, so maybe for game 3 we'll get a close game. We haven't seen one just yet.
Man, well, at least we know what each deck's about.
Right.
Like, they're certainly letting us know that.
Right.
Yeah, so you see Joslyn going back to the sideboard, being like, man, that Fumigate, might not be right.
On the play, she'll be better able to leverage Gideon allies Endegar. In that game, it was very unimpressive, but it does gain some stock when you're back on the play. In particular, when you know you're facing some number of Liliana the Last Hope, having that card in your deck helps you fight that value plan.
Yeah, and some re-sideboarding here, it looks like, on Joslyn's side. With better knowledge, are there different cards you like out of the sideboard here, or just want the main deck back in?
I don't really think too much changes. Again, the best card on the sideboard is really those stasis snares.
It looks like she put in Gideon's snares and fumigates, likely getting rid of cards like Dusk to Dawn, a Metallic Rebuke, perhaps a couple unsummons left as well.
Maybe reevaluating Angel of Sanctions. That one's pretty significant. If you just get hit by Glorybringer, that's pretty unfortunate, though. Suppose it matches up relatively poorly against Cut to Ribbons as well. But yeah, the Gideons, they should be a lot better on the play here. You know, she's able to have something in the range of 1, 2, 3 drop, some combination of that. Get on the battlefield, cast Gideon. It'll be a lot better in this third game.
Yeah, she will be back on the play. So we'll get to that in just a second. Now, our Versus Series over on StarCityGames.com, you've seen that one on SCG Premium. We have our Versus Series 2-player playmat that's on sale from the store for $29.99. It's a large-sized 24x28 playmat, just as featured in our videos. You can pick one up today at StarCityGames.com/versus-playmats.
Really great tool for some heads-up magic.
Yeah.
Set it up on your kitchen table.
2-player sized.
Yeah. Which not great for Commander.
No, you need the table-sized playmat for that one.
For some good old 2-player magic, it's perfect.
All right, game number 3. Oketra's Monument in the plus lands in the opener for Joslyn. She's kept Fumigate in. And you know, like what I've seen of this deck, I feel like you're keeping, I don't know if I've ever seen them lose when they cast Monument. I don't know if I've ever seen them win when they haven't. So if I see lands in Monument, yeah, I'm probably keeping.
I might have seen the second thing. I have certainly not seen the first thing.
Joslyn going to take a mulligan here. No plays outside of Monument might not be good enough.
You got to have some creatures.
If I gave you on the play 4 lands, Monument, Cloud Blazer, do you care what? 5 lands, Monument, Cloud Blazer.
I'm on the play?
You're on the play.
Are all my lands just tap for mana, or is there anything special?
Do they have anything else?
Do I get a Westphal Abbey?
Does that change your answer?
Do I get an irrigated farmland?
No, you don't get anything you can cycle. It's 5 lands. It's 5 lands, a Monument, and a Cloud Blazer.
I'm on the play.
Yeah.
Snap it off.
See, you're still. You asked if you had an Abbey, and I'm saying that's not going to change your answer.
Never just take the first offer. You know, I had to see.
I like that you're using negotiating tactics on a theoretical hand. That's
had to
good.
see if I could get
really
more.
good. You're going to do real well at the.
I'm a lot of fun at parties.
Joslyn keeping on 6, scrying to the top. Jackson starts dual land, showing Swamp and Dread Wanderer.
Yeah, that one enters the battlefield tap, young man.
And here's Thraben Inspector. Good blocker for Wanderer. I feel like we see this trade happen a lot as Jackson offers it, and then they never get the Wanderer back. Scrap Heap Scrounger with that Swamp from Hicks.
And it's not indicative of really who's winning the game. It's just like the Wanderer never comes back. One of the players wins somehow.
Yeah, no one has time to bring that card back. It's just a Jackal Pup. Hanvir Militia Captain the play for Joslyn. Here's Scrap Heap Scrounger. She's not going to make that trade, however. And Jackson, turn 3 player. We're going to see the Amit. We are Amit Eternal.
The debut.
Always a 5/5 eternally. And that's not true at all.
No.
But the card is 5/5 for 3. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, put a -1 counter on it. Whenever it deals damage, it gets rid of all its counters to a player. Now, the neat part is the Afflict 3. That was, I think, the hardest part to evaluate on it, and turns out to just be a very good line of text. Oketra's Monument from Joslyn. And you see it here. Amit goes down to a 4/4. But look at the Jackson's next attack. Like, do you want to block it? Do you want to not block it?
I don't want to block the Amit.
Yeah, all right, well, then it resets.
Well, I can take 3 off of Afflict and lose my 2/2, or I can take 4.
And give it and make it grow again.
That's worth 1 life. I am going to consider blocking the Scrap Heap Scrounger here. Currently, I would have to exile the Dread Wanderer anyway.
Big fan of Amit Eternal, just as a card. I think we might see more of this card going forward.
And chump blocking it isn't great. You got to cast a lot of spells quickly, otherwise the Amit's just going to afflict for 3 every time it runs into one of those 1/1 tokens off the monument.
Liliana, the Last Hope from Jackson, and a tap land. That's going to make the creature a 0/1. Here's a swing for 7. I don't want to block anymore.
I like the Liliana there. You know, Jackson is saying, I'm not in love with trading my Scrounger for this 2/2. I can do better. Not to mention that the Liliana is extremely good against the monument.
So Militia Captain will block the Amit Eternal, which means Joslyn still takes 6. It has Afflict 3. Oh, yeah, and there is Selfless Spirit. Is it 2 spirits? Ugh. Here's Bygone Bishop from Joslyn. That'll make a 1/1. Amit shrinks. Here's Selfless Spirit. Makes a 1/1. Amit shrinks. And a second clue token for Joslyn, but no more lands. She will pass.
And 11 is not a very high life total against Hicks' deck.
No, but she's got some good things going on, right? She gets a free block this turn because Selfless Spirit makes everything indestructible. And that Amit Eternal is actually going to die. Jackson doesn't have this yet.
That's absolutely true. Yeah, the Bygone Bishop does get to attack in the air as well.
Here's Earthshaker Kenra. Now the Bishop can't block. A swing with everyone. And actually, this is interesting. He's swinging into a stack of indestructible creatures.
Only the 1/1s can block, so there's that.
Yeah, Earthshaker Kenra is just going to get eaten. But there's this problem, I guess, once again, blocking Amit Eternal, right? Where it's,
Yeah, Jackson only has 4 lands at this point.
But she's letting Amit through, which means it resets back to a 5/5.
Yeah, strictly on damage output that turn, she took 2 instead of 3.
She took the smallest amount of damage she could that turn. You're right.
But resetting the Amit, that's a big deal.
Well, I guess, you know, if you're just discounting the future, saying, I get it. And Jocelyn's going to make another Bygone Bishop, another Soldier, and a Clue. Amit's going to start shrinking again. I believe she has another Selfless Spirit. So trying to stay alive here, getting an army of 1/1s. Got to put some pressure on that Liliana, too. And that's what she'll do. Bygone Bishop attacks the Planeswalker down to 3. Back to Jackson. 2 cards now in hand. He's got Joslyn to 9, but things are getting trickier here. He's going to lose the Liliana to the pair of Bygone Bishops. Or it looks that way. Can't really swing these Scrap Heap Scroungers into an indestructible board either.
It's not ideal. He doesn't really have fodder to exile to them.
Land 5 from Jackson. Looks like 2 cards left, maybe, so he can't bring back. You look at his graveyard. He's got Dread Wanderer and the Earthshaker Kenra.
Tomorrow morning's modern and standard classic events. Those events will take registration tonight until the end of swing.
Is there an attack here? I don't think, not yet.
10 minutes before those events begin.
And Jocelyn's draw is shaped up extremely well here. Not hitting the 4th land drop, but being able to 2-spell every turn.
It had Oketra's Monument in it. That's what I'm saying. They never lose when they have it. And this is a neat play. So Jackson -2s the Selfless Spirit. Jocelyn makes her creatures indestructible. In response, Jackson uses Unlicensed Disintegration on the untapped Bygone Bishop. Jocelyn drops to 6, and now the team swings.
And the Amit's good for 3 damage one way or the other.
Yeah, so she's at a virtual 3 here. And you know, actually, Ryan, she's got to block the Amit. She's got to kill it. She can't.
You can't just let that one hang out.
Because if she goes to 3, I don't think she can stabilize through this board. Hold on. If she goes to 3, what's she going to do about the Amit next turn?
Got to have a kill spell. Gotta have a stasis snare, something like that.
Blocks all of them, goes to 3. I really like this Baleful Hammock card.
It's looking good.
Draws land. She has Gideon as the last card in her hand. That's not going to do it.
No, that's not 3 spells. And hanging out with 5 clues, nowhere near the mana to utilize those.
If she's left her unsummons in, she could try to draw to them with Bygone Bishop.
Sure. Yeah, gets to crack 1 clue. She finds an untapped land. There's a free redraw there.
Gideon. Amit down to 2/2. Okay, well, she can not block. She can just say no blocks on the Amit next turn. Gideon's going to make an emblem. And that's got to be her play.
Yep. Yeah, so the tokens survive the Liliana now, but that's the least of her concern.
Okay, so she's managed to survive for now. Going to attack. Looks like 2 of them at Liliana, everything else at Jackson. He's going to take 7. He decides to not bring back Scrounger on end step. Draws here. Does he have? He has a lot of burn in his deck. We're looking for Cut to Ribbons or Unlicensed Disintegration. Swings both. Let's see what he's got. Jocelyn's going to trade with Scrap Heap Scrounger. Amit Eternal resets to 5/5. Jocelyn's down to 1. Does he have it? Cycles. Your cast Sweltering Suns. Nice. Okay, Bygone Bishop is still alive, though. Thanks to the Gideon emblem. Jackson plays his last card, and I think he can get back Dread Wanderer.
Yep. You can get that back or leave up Activate Scrap Heap Scrounger.
Says go. She needs a kill spell for the Amit. Cloud Blazer. That doesn't do it, though.
Nope. Land unsummon. 2
land,
lands.
land. And how about Amit Eternal? It's going to win the game here for Jackson Hicks in round 7. And that will be it. So black-red aggro. Jackson's going to lock it in to day 2. Looks for a lot more as he wins the one over white-blue Monument.
Yeah, showcases the power of yet another Hour Devastation card.
Yeah, that card looks great.
Also making use of a couple Amonkhet cards now. Cut to Ribbons is a card that we've seen some of in the Mardu Vehicles decks, but don't really see 4 copies of that anywhere
he's
else.
playing 4 copies of Cut to Ribbons, 4 copies of Unlicensed Disintegration.
Yeah.
Which is a lot to like.
Very aggressive take on red-black.
All right, so he's into day 2. For Joslyn Lambaria, 2 more chances to get a win for day number 2. That's going to be it for round number 7, but we have 2 more rounds to go and see more players make it into day 2, and we're going to try to see who that 9-0 player is going to be. Join us when we come back here from the Cincinnati Open.